Hey Bookish Babes, and welcome to my book nook. Yes, it is I. I have a new haircut if you haven't seen it already. It was out with the old, in with the new, all sorts of things. Also, if you're new around here, my name's Rainy. I read lots of books, mainly fantasy romance. So let's get started. Anyway, today's video is a very special video because I am doing a 1K Q&A. So I hit 1K. And my friend Brittany from Brittany Loves Readings sprints about 2 weeks ago. It was the best thing ever. I had everybody rallying and campaigning to help me get like my last 20 to 30 subscribers, and it was a magical time, and I'm still on such a high from hitting it. It was wonderful, and it just showed me how amazing this book community is and how lucky I am to have all the friends that I have and all the connections that I've made and all the books that I've read. I've been so infinitely happy since I started my booktube journey. And so as, you know, a thanks, I wanted to do a little Q&A, get to know me a little bit better. And then, you know, also just give like a couple updates, like what I have coming on the horizon, like what plans, like any, you know, like just a little like, chat with me, get to find out some behind the scenes stuff, okay? So anyway, we're gonna start with the Q&A, which I did ask on Instagram and on my community tab for questions, and I do have a couple, and so I'll probably start, I don't know which one I'm starting with. Honestly, it's just gonna go with whatever I posted first, so let me look. And we're going to start with the YouTube questions, the booktube ones, because that's what I have on my list first. And so I'm just going to answer all of my questions, see what I got, and then we'll talk about other stuff at the end. So, Laura from the Book Herm asked me, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about being a book on booktube? So my favorite thing, I'm looking at my notes, would be making all of the wonderful connections that I have made. Like, I'm so very glad for like a lot of friendships that I have, especially the besties, Brittany, Neva, and Kelsey. I don't know what I would do without them, which, fun fact, I knew Neva before we both had booktube. That we met in 2020. But also, I just want to thank it for getting back into my love for reading. I actually remember how I got onto booktube. There is a productivity coach that I've been following for forever, and she started reading again because she discovered booktube. And so she shared on her stories a booktube, like booktuber, Noelle Gallagher. She does not do videos anymore, but she is fan-freaking-tastic. Oh my gosh, I loved her videos so much. And I had just never even imagined that there was a world of booktube out there and that people shared about the books they were reading. I didn't even think about that. And so I watched her videos, and then I somehow got onto Books and Lala, Kayla's channel, and then I made it to Gabby Reed's channel, and I just kind of spiraled and escalated from there, if we're being honest. And I was obsessed, and I watched 24/7, and I said, I want to do that. I want to read like that. I want to. And so I started reading again after taking like a good 7 to 8 year hiatus. And that is honestly the most enriching thing that has happened in my life in a long time. I wasted so many years from like right after high school when I read voraciously all the way through college and like the first 2 years of work, and I didn't read, and I'm very upset that I let that go at all. As far as my least favorite thing, it would be the way the algorithm works and things. I feel like people that grow exponentially, like really, really quick, all look the same. I'm sorry. They all look and talk about the same books. Like, I love a good Destiny Sidwell, Haley Pham, Sarah Caroli moment. I do. But I feel like any time that I am talking to people and I'm like, and they say, oh, I watch booktube, and I say, oh, who do you watch? They say like those names, or like, you know, the bigwig names. And I'm not against those people, but it's like, they all exactly talk about the same exact books, and they all look exactly the same. Whereas I think people that have been posting quality content, doing like reading different books, like being really diverse in their reads, and they literally, it takes them like 5 years to gain like 1,000 subscribers. And I just don't understand how algorithm works and how it pushes out certain people and how people escalate. I don't really understand that. But I feel like that's a never ending issue. And it just stinks because there are so many amazing content creators out there that I just feel like deserve so much more notice and appreciation, and that I want, you know, booktube to actually be diverse and like for not just the most popular people to be reading all the same stuff. And we have from Roxy's Wondrous World, she asked, have there been any new to you genres you got into that you never thought you would? And I would actually say yes to that, because in middle and high school, I only read classics. Now, why? I don't know. Maybe it's because we had to read a lot of classics for school, and so that's just what I tended to go towards. However, you could not get me to read a classic right now if you even tried. And then when I first ventured back into reading, I started with thriller and horror, because one of the first books that I read getting back into reading was The Silent Patient, and I really, really loved that. And if you followed me in the OG booktube days, I only read thrillers and horrors. Like, that was literally my bread and butter. That was all I read for like the latter part of like a year and a half. And so that's all that I read. Oh, sorry, The Air Kicked On, but we're going to keep going with it. And then, you know, all of a sudden, I got swept into the world of dark romance. I picked that up next. And then I ventured into fantasy romance. And I'm not exactly sure how I got into all of these things, but I never expected to honestly read dark romance or fantasy romance, because I was not a fantasy girly. And now that's literally all that my shelves are, and I'm very much obsessed with it and love that for myself. And now I read thrillers as palette cleansers. So like my reading has just changed so much within the past like 3 years, and I'm very much about it. But I honestly never expected any of it because I didn't really know what I liked. And Laura asked another question, what's your favorite memory so far? And I assume booktube, so I went that route. I actually have a couple because I couldn't just narrow it down to one. So the first one was actually a big one for me. So Ashley Winstead, you might know her as the author of In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, or The Last Housemaid, or Last Housewife, and what's her newest book? Midnight is the Darkest Hour, which I hated that book, but I loved the other two. They were 5 stars. And she is very big now, like very, very big. And she was big even when In My Dreams I Hold a Knife came out, but she wasn't as big yet, but she was still pretty big to me. I posted a reading blog where I read that book, and I read her first romance book that came out, Fool Me Once, and I read both of them together, and I tagged her in it. Never expected her to see it, watch my video, any of the things. And not only did she watch it, and I know that she watched it because she literally commented about my dog, saying like, oh my gosh, Zelda is the cutest name. And Zelda wasn't until like 17 minutes into the video or something like that. So I know that she watched it all and she didn't just scrub it, which was just so mind-boggling to me that like this author that I love and behold so dear to my heart, like watched my video and like commented on it. And it was crazy. And I only had like 400 subscribers at the time, but like it was the best time. It was literally the best time. And I was very unhinged in that blog. So like, thank you, Miss Girly Pop, Miss Winstead, for still watching it anyway. Another one would be obviously hitting 1K, because that was quite memorable. And then I would say my Clue Readathon that I hosted. I hosted Get a Clue Readathon for the first time in November of last year. And I had hosted readathons before. I do my Battle of the Boy Bands / Girl Bands readathon. But this one was like my big one, and it was very successful. I had a lot of fun with it. I got a lot of people through that. I got a lot of new subscribers through that. And I'm so excited because it will be coming back, which we're going to answer that in the question in just a hot minute. But yeah, that was just a big, I think, like pivotal change for me in my booktube journey. I feel like that's when things really started to turn around for me. Then we have Emily Reads 4207, which said, will there be another clue-themed readathon, and when will it be? Yes, there will. It is in November, once again, and it's going to be bigger and better than before. I have updated rules, I have added things, I have changed things, because like some things I liked worked, some things I didn't. Not all of the same co-hosts will be there, because some had to dip out for various reasons, but I do have some other ones. I have some very excited ones coming to you. I have some new plots, some twists, and all the turns. So be excited. The announcement video will come in early October, so mark it on your calendars. A competitive, fun, clue-themed readathon happening for you in November 2024. Okay. Then we pop over to Instagram, and so we have a couple of questions from there. And I have Alicia is booked, said, what is your favorite thing about each of your kids? And I actually really loved this. There was like 1 or 2 questions about like my kids and being a mom, and so I very much liked that, because I did say that you could ask me more than just like booktuber questions. So for Lincoln, I would have to say it's his mind. It's really the way that he figures things out to me. He's just so intelligent. Like the things that he comes up with just crosses my mind. But of course he also can use his intelligence in not a good way. He's also the one that I do have to really choose carefully with my words, because like he will find every loophole. Like the other day we were at Publix and he was putting his hands on the glass, and I said, take your hands off of the glass. They don't like it when you do that. And so then he puts his hands on the sticker that's on the glass and says, my hands aren't on the glass anymore. And I went, that is my child. But he's so intelligent. He figures out so much stuff on his own. He is just my bright shining star. I just love him so very much. And then Eloise, I don't even know. Honestly, it's just her determination. Like, if she wants to do something, she will do it. And if she doesn't want to do something, she won't do it. Like, she does not want to walk. Does not want to walk. Can fully walk. Has taken a couple of steps before. Can stand up by herself. Can get up and down by herself. Can do all the things. Literally can walk and just chooses not to. She has deduced that crawling is easier. Although now she does this weird crab walk thing where she's literally crawling on a knee and like stepping on a foot. It's like a weird, it makes her sideways crab. It makes her spin in circles. It's very hilarious. But she's just so gung-ho determined to do what she wants to do, and she will not do something if she does not want to do it. She is so strong-willed. And I know that's going to bite me in the butt very, very soon. I mean, it already does. But she's just sassy, and I'm very much here for it. Then Stylish Sarah 11 said, what is the prettiest book that you own? And I do have 2 very specific answers for this, and one of them is the same as my mid-year freak out book tag, but I still don't have, like, actually, Actually, no. It might have changed. Okay. We're gonna do a couple. So my prettiest book collection collectively would be the Throne of Glass series right here. Like, I mean, it literally makes an entire picture. Like, it's just beautiful. And then even the covers themselves are like literally stunning. Like, hold on, let me just grab one for you. I mean, like, that's just beautiful. Okay, that's just beautiful. But then if I had to pick individual books, I do have two. I showed this one on my mid-year freakout tag, but it's still the same. Rise of the Cinder Fae by Whitney Dean. This is a special Bookish box edition, and this alone is beautiful. But then we get to this, and then we get to this, and I don't know what to tell you. It does have an alternate dust jacket if I wanted to do something. Like, this is just beautiful, and I cannot wait to read this. But then, of course, my beloved obsessions, the Arcane edition of Serpent and the Wings of Night, which we know is my favorite series of all time. We have Miss Araya, we have Mr. Rain, okay? Yeah, this is a little print. And, I mean, all the serpents, all the things, very beautiful. I'm obsessed, okay? I love them, and they deserve to have their rightful place back on the throne. Let me make sure I put my art print back in there. I don't want to mess it up. Yeah, those are the prettiest books that I own, for sure. And then Stylish Sarah 11 also asked, did you always want to be a mom? Yes, I literally did. It's actually really funny. I did Miss Coral Shores, which is basically like a beauty pageant back in 11th grade. They only picked 10 girls. How I got picked, don't know. I wasn't a popular girly. And they asked me, I can't even remember. I think they asked me what I wanted to do when I was older. And I literally said, and I had been saying this since I was like apparently 6 or 7, that all I wanted to do was adopt 2 kids from Africa. I don't know. I still want to do that, honestly. I still want to do that. My husband, I have to do a little more convincing because I know that it's expensive and, you know, whatever. But I've always wanted to adopt, and I've always wanted to have kids. I've just always had this motherly instinct. And so I knew as soon as I got married, I really wanted kids. And I actually really, really wanted a girl. In fact, there is a video somewhere out in the abyss that'll never see the light of day that shows me laugh crying when I find out that Lincoln is not an Eloise. But you know what? God gave me exactly what I needed because Lincoln is my best friend. I love him so very much. And Eloise is a perfect little addition to the family, and Lincoln needed to be a big brother to somebody. So I think it worked out perfectly. But yes, I've always wanted to be a mom. Marley Writes Books said pineapple plus pizza. And I'm going to say yes, only because I don't eat pizza like a normal person. I literally don't eat pizza normally. I take the cheese off the pizza because I don't eat cheese. Yes, I know that is weird, okay? But that's me. We're just going to go with it. And so I eat all the toppings separately. So I would be eating all the pineapple first, and then I would be eating the pizza. If I was to eat pizza normally, then no. I can't do like the whole salty, sweet situation. Like, I can't do that. But if it's separate, sure, why not? Megan Mine 902 said, are you going to have a Patreon now that you've hit 1K? And all I'm going to say to that is maybe. You're just going to have to stay tuned around the time of a certain readathon is all that I'm going to say to that end. And my other hint for you as to the theme of a future readathon or a Patreon would be Joey doesn't share food. And that's it. Okay, we're moving on. Then we have Purple Peony 9 said, what is your favorite book of all time? And honestly, that is a very tough question because I feel like I need to reread a couple of my books that I say are my favorite in order to determine which ultimately is going to come out on top. But I can think of 3 books that for sure have created my love for reading, and so I put them there. One would obviously be Catcher in the Rye. That is my favorite classic of all time. I have reread that book like 5-6 times. I just love it so much. And if you come at me and say it is boring, it is not. He goes on tangents, and that is literally like me. I felt so seen in that book. Then my favorite book outside of that like made me fall in love with reading was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. That is like the very first book that I read when I came back to reading. I'm obsessed with it. I love it so much. I literally wanted to read it at stoplights and things. Of course I didn't do that because that's not safe, but I wanted to. And then my favorite fantasy book that made me obsessed with fantasy romance, obviously, Serpent and the Wings of Night, holds a very, very special place in my heart. I love it so very much. I can't imagine what my life would be like had I not read that, because that was when things really shifted for me. And then Purple Peony 9 also asked me, I think, a book that you wish they would write. So I think she means like, what is a book that doesn't exist that you want written? And I don't know yet, because I feel like if I did know that, I would be writing it, because I do want to write a book one day. I want to write a fantasy romance book series. Yes, you've heard it here first. I do want to do that eventually, but I don't know what I'm going to write about for that yet. And so my answer is, I don't know. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jean, because I know this was you, but I don't know. I don't know what I want to write yet, and I don't know what I want to see yet. So that is my answer to that. So those are all of the questions that I got, which I was very excited to get to read all of these and answer these. That was a very good time. As far for like, you know, updates and other things, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna be still going to 2 videos a week, which I say they're Wednesdays and Sundays. It's pretty much always guaranteed on Sunday, but Wednesday always turns into Thursday because I always remember that I have a video done the next day. You know, I just don't, I want to have a schedule down, but sometimes, you know, the tiny children just don't let you, but I'm gonna be getting better about that. That is my plan for right now. So we're still going to be doing 2 videos a month. I'm still going to be reading all of the fantasy romance. I'm still going to be doing a lot more vlogs because I have a lot of books that I want to share about in vlogs. Okay. And so that is what we are doing. The Clue Readathon is going to be happening and it's going to be a great time. So like I said, keep on track for that. My August book club with Katie, the Tortured Readers book club, is going to be reading Peaches and Honey by R. Raetta. And we're also reading, like, buddy reading the second book in the duology, Pits and Poisons, because each of these books is like 250, 60-ish pages. And so like we figured we could both read them, but we'll like mainly just talk about this one. And all you need to know is it says a shape-shifting god, an immortality granting peach, and a woman gifted with forever. I will say, apparently someone said it's like Addie LaRue if it was a fantasy romance, which makes me scared because I didn't like Addie LaRue. But it's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. I have some fun collabs coming down the pike. I have started a TikTok. Yeah, I know. I'm trying my life out there. I did have some trouble with TikTok the other day, and we're not going to talk about it. But we're, you know, Book Talk is an interesting place. TikTok is an interesting place. So if you want to join me over there, I'm at rainybluereads. We're having, you know, we're trying it out. We're dabbling the waters. We're trying to see if we can navigate all the different apps. However, YouTube will always be my tried and true favorite. So there is that. And any other updates? My TBR game's not going away. It's staying nice and strong, but I'm looking at it and going, I need to update that board. So I'm probably gonna get a new board ASAP because it's dying. And yeah, ultimately, I just want to say thank you again to everybody that helped me in sharing about helping me to get into 1K, in just sharing my content in general, and just commenting, and just responding, and just being a nice friend over the years. Like, I'm very thankful for hitting 1K finally. I am so happy to have made all the connections that I did, and I'm just eternally, eternally grateful. So I love you all from the bottom of my heart. And so with that being said, I will see you guys in another bookish video very soon. Bye!